Yeah, well, I don't care. Let me tell you what, buddy. If people continue in their refusal to submit to our public health policies, we're just going to have to spread some psychoactive compliance drugs in their water supply. We'll see how they like that. If you're out camping or you've hit hard times and there's no potable water anywhere to be found, just take your solar cooker with you, dip it in a lake, stream, or pond, open it up, put it out in the sun, and within hours you're going to have potable, sterilized drinking water. My link for your massive discount is in the description below. This is from LifeSite. LifeSiteNews.com. U.S. professor, psychoactive pills should be covertly administered to ensure lockdown compliance. Chemical moral enhancement substances could help people reason about what the right thing to do is, argued Professor Parker Crutchfield. This looks like an Onion article. August 13th, 2020, LifeSite News. In an article so shocking, it at first reads like satire. That's why I was saying it sounds like Onion. An ethics professor, and let me just go ahead and blow this up for you. An ethics professor at Western Michigan University advocated for the promotion of psychoactive morality pills in order to alter the behavior of those skeptical of lockdown regulations, suggesting that such drugs could be made compulsory or administered secretly via the water supply. Mandatory mass medications, kind of like what they're doing with the fluoride. The article was published earlier this week in The Conversation, a news site focusing on content, quote, sourced from the academic and research community. That's pathetic. And supported by universities from around the world. The Conversation lists a number of UK universities as its founding partners. In the article, Parker Crutchfield, it even sounds like a fake name, argues that, quote, when someone chooses not to follow public health guidelines around the coronavirus, they are defecting from the public good. It's what we've been saying, guys. It's how society is being rewired by government and mainstream media sources. And when I say government and mainstream, I don't at all mean that they're separated. They are together. They're both in bed together. One controls the other and vice versa. For example, we're going to be talking about Anderson Cooper. We all know that Anderson Cooper was at least at one time a CIA asset. And I don't think when you get into the CIA, it's a matter of just easily getting out. And we already know the history of the Vanderbilts and all that in connection with Anderson Cooper. It's just a bunch of nonsense. We're going to watch Anderson Cooper just in a couple minutes. And that such defectors require chemical moral enhancement. That's against their will and without their consent. In other words, we can't have free moral agents walking around disagreeing with government edicts. We need to force a chemical substance into them so that they can be docile. It almost sounds Hitler-esque. Substances to help them, quote, reason about what the right thing to do is. So what they're saying is we take the moral high ground. We reserve for ourselves the moral right. They put this on the plane of morality, on the same level of morality. I'm right, you're wrong, is what they're saying. We reserve for ourselves the moral right to rule you. And you have the moral obligation to obey our rulership or be rightly, in their eyes, punished. That's what this is. That's how this plays out, guys. That's how this fleshes out. These people literally believe they are on the moral high ground, that they are the moral priests. They are the ministers of truth and morality to help reason about what the right thing to do is. Quote, to me, it seems the problem of coronavirus defectors could be solved by moral enhancement, like receiving a vaccine to beef up your immune system. People could take a substance to boost their cooperative, pro-social behavior. Could a psychoactive pill be the solution to the pandemic? Crutchfield writes. It's a far-out proposal that's bound to be controversial, he concedes, but nevertheless, yeah, why would that be controversial, Mr. Crutchfield? Why would that be controversial? Because you're basically advocating for doing something to somebody else without their will and against their consent that you wouldn't want done to yourself. You're violating something you wouldn't want done to yourself. That makes you the worst of humanity. And the worst of humanity is hypocrisy. You would almost think that when people tune in to the Democrat National Convention or the Republican National Convention, that hypocrisy takes a vacation. That there are no corrupt people in politics. You would think when you watch this, that's what they're asking you to please suspend critical thinking just for this 2-3 hour infomercial and let us tell you how great and consistent and moral and noble and ethical and righteous Joe Biden is. And they're going to do the same thing next week at the Republican National Convention, how awesome Donald Trump is and how you can trust him with your very life. Guys, come on. We're talking about politics. We're talking about politicians. You would think that according to them, there is no such thing as a narcissistic, parasitic political parasite. And that's all they are. When you as a human being decide, you know what I'm going to do? I want to ascend the ladder of power. I want to grab the ring of power. I want to have that power within my hands. Do we not know, have we not learned by now that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely? When you give somebody a monopoly on force and violence like you're doing when you give the president of the United States who makes all these executive orders that takes away more freedom and more rights and more money, that power is corrupting. And there are very few men and women on this planet who can handle that kind of power. Almost none, let's say. But you're going to tell me that I want to call him O'Biden. You want to tell me that Biden is a moral, upstanding, noble, loving, kind, compassionate human being who only has your best interest at heart? If that's true, why does he want to be a part of government? Because anybody who becomes part of government is literally saying, I have a higher claim over your life and property than you, to the point where I can make laws, and if you don't obey them, then you're going to be punished. Like the drug law, prohibition. Slavery used to be legal, guys. Slavery used to be illegal. Think about that. You know what's legal right now? Killing babies in the womb. That's legal. That's what we're talking about. That's the plane that we're operating on. That's the political ball field that we find ourselves on. It's not even a ball field. It's a slaughter field. The government is the biggest death cult in the entire world, with two wings. Two wings of the same bird of prey being controlled by the same Zionist international banking cartel. These dark, sinister human beings walk the earth looking for more people to devour, for more labor to co-opt, for more wealth to steal and to extort. It's a far-out proposal that's bound to be controversial, he says, but it's worth at least considering given the importance of social cooperation and the struggle to get COVID-19 under control. Crutchfield says that one challenge in implementing such a system is that, quote, the defectors, that's what they call it. That's what they get. This isn't just Crutchfield. When you walk into that grocery store without a mask, when you take that mask that they give you at that grocery store and you throw it into the trash can and you just act like you've always acted, under any kind of epidemic or flu-like season, symptomatic, asymptomatic, it doesn't matter. You're acting the same way you always have, but everybody else is doing something different because now the narrative is, hey, you have to obey us in this. And those who don't obey are the defectors. That's how they treat you. That's the rewiring of the mind of society. Crutchfield says that one challenge in implementing such a system is that, quote, the defectors who need moral enhancement are also the least likely to sign up for it. So we got to force it down their throats, man. These guys are the ones who would be torturing you at Auschwitz, let's say, for example. I know about the 6 million number and all that, the question of all that kind of stuff. I'm pulling up a word picture that everybody has in their minds. Let's just say concentration camp, okay? These are the guys who would be the jackboot thugs that would put their boot on your neck in a concentration camp. This Crutchfield guy. And everybody who wants to force you to wear a mask. Everybody who wants to shelter in place. Everybody who's going to demand that you roll up your sleeve and protect all of humanity by getting a vaccine. Which is completely hypocritical, because if they got the vaccine, then they're already protected, right? Just hypocrisy. They don't even believe that. And yet they believe it enough to submit to the Bill Gates and to the Gavis and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and to the Abbott Labs and to the big tech, the pharmaceuticals, the biotechs, Gilead Sciences. Take your remdesivir. Believe Anthony Fauci and Deborah Birx. As some have argued, a solution would be to make moral enhancement compulsory or administer it secretly, perhaps via the water supply. This is so sinister. These actions require weighing other values. He has no values. This guy can't speak of values. Just like it's hilarious for me to listen to any politician, I don't care if it's Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, AOC, anybody who's talking about doing the right and noble thing and talking about some kind of morality, bringing out the good in society. These guys are liars, man. You might as well have Jeffrey Dahmer get up there and try to sell me on, how it's absolutely vital that you treat your neighbor with respect. Don't eat your neighbor. Don't cut your neighbor's head off, says Jeffrey Dahmer. Don't put them in strange and curious poses after they're dead and have sex with them, Jeffrey Dahmer says. Oh yeah, like we're going to listen to him or Ted Bundy or Hannibal Lecter or whoever it is. Yeah, right. Taking morality tips from Joe Biden is like taking morality tips from Freddy Krueger or Jason from Friday the 13th. While we have time and it still retains some of its perceived value, maybe it'd be a good idea to convert your worthless fiat into valuable, storable food. Don't be the one who waits till the food riots start happening. You don't want to be fighting panicking people in the store over that last jar of peanut butter. At Prepare with High Impact Flicks, you can get up to 3 air and watertight gasket sealed ammo cans, each filled with a 4-week emergency supply. 7 food varieties, 2,000 calories a day, 284 servings, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and each meal comes in a resealable, heavy-duty 4-layered pouch. And it's got a 25-year shelf life. Every order of a 4-week supply gets you $100 off plus free shipping. Here's how simple it is to make. I'm going to cook up some Granny's home-style potato soup. People are going to think I'm a culinary hero. You open the pouch, boil 4.5 cups of water, stir the contents, simmer on low heat for 15 to 20 minutes, take it off the heat, then let it set for 2 to 3 minutes before you serve it up.
Man, this stuff's so good. People are going to think Granny stopped by and filled your kitchen with a whole bunch of love.
Well, if Granny does stop by, she's going to fill your behind with a whole bunch of buckshot if you keep talking with your mouth full. Wipe your dang beard off. It's embarrassing. So maybe convert some of your worthless fiat into valuable food while you still can. Order now and get $100 off of up to 3 4-week emergency food supplies at preparewithhighimpactflix.com. The link is in the description.